My family always reminds me that Lilo and Stitch was the first movie they took me to where I cried. I was just bawling at the thought of Lilo and Nani being separated by the state. And I remember being so happy when everyone, the whole family, Nani, Lilo, Stitch, Pleakley, everyone got to stay together in this chosen family in Hawaii. Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Now, the new Lilo and Stitch remake has been released as one of Disney's long line of revitalizations. And old even feels crazy to me as someone that watched them in the 2000s. The power of CGI has taken hold of everything from super creepy fish in The Little Mermaid to this really slimy green Pleakley in the new Lilo and Stitch, who then shapeshifts into Bill, complete opposite of drag queen Magnuson. Now, when confronted on Twitter about this dramatic reversal, the film's director was fighting back tears as he said,
People message me, why is Pleakley not wearing the dress? And I just want to say, I tried.
Now, these reinterpretations are really complicated because at the same time, they have to reinterpret a canonical film like Lilo and Stitch and also pump in a lot of fresh new energy to make it relevant to today's audiences. On the surface, this reimagining is usually about new technology for new audiences. But what troubles me most is the way these reinterpretations are also reimagining the story of Lilo and Stitch itself. Since the film's release last week, so many of the film's original fans have been going to social media to chime in about what they see missing. All of the references to American colonialism in the form of Hawaiian tourism are gone. For example, in the original film, one of my favorite parts is when Lilo takes a picture of the large white tourist with glasses and sunscreen who ends up looking like an alien himself. Despite our geographic and emotional distance from the island, Hawaii has always had a very special place in my family's heart. It started when my grandmother married a Hawaiian man in the 70s who would throw luau's for her and flew in fresh lace for their wedding. As an adult now, though, I'm becoming more and more aware of all the dynamics at play when someone like me goes to a place like Hawaii. As someone that is now participating in a long history of enjoyment, encounter, and extraction from the indigenous lands and communities of that island. In the original, after losing her job at a tourist trap, Nani struggles to find work to support herself and her sister. And this isn't the only change that happens to Nani. The attempts to flesh out more of her character actually pull her further away from Lilo in the remake. In the new film, she has dreams to go to college, study marine biology, which Lilo calls in a Freudian slip the Marines, as if anything can be an accident in Disney films. Now, this hit hardest for me in the remake when Nani decides to give up Lilo after all to go pursue her education on the mainland. So much for Ohana means family. But I keep coming back to the most blatant site of this revision, and that's of course Pleakley. Returning to Pleakley as an adult is like stumbling upon a world I never knew I had as a child. Now, for those that don't know, Pleakley is a member of the Galactic Federation and a self-proclaimed Earth expert, whose scientific objectivity of our planet keeps them at a distance from what it's really like down here. They see us humans as simple creatures who are an essential part of the mosquito's diet. But when they're sent to Earth to find Experiment 626, they end up rediscovering our planet and themselves in the process. As an alien on our soil, they must blend in to avoid getting clocked. Now, in the original film, this steers Pleakley into this fabulous world of alter egos where he tries on wigs and dresses and makeup. They even don a cunty black bob. I'ma be on the next lap. But these quickly shift from a reconnaissance disguise into a portal towards a new Pleakley. One particular moment stood out to me when watching the original film. Jumba's spying on Stitch through binoculars, giving Pleakley the perfect opportunity to serve Mug in the mirror before bed. Pleakley snatches the wig off once Jumba sees them, and then tries it on himself. Pleakley calms down though when they see that a mosquito has chosen them as a perch to land on, inviting a whole swarm over to grace Pleakley's skin before devouring them. In this moment, Pleakley discovers what it means to be human. At the same time that they discover the sensations of the body, they also discover the joyful vanity of a bob and a mirror. Now, the mission to retrieve Stitch is often derailed by Pleakley's fascination with this new identity. The disguises grow more involved, the mug more beat. It's not surprising then that by the end of the film, Pleakley is excited to stay on Earth to continue to explore their identity. Now, if I saw myself in these alien characters, I also wonder if I recognized their reinterpretation of family in my own. I was also raised by a queer chosen family of people that didn't quite belong together in the heteropatriarchal confines of the state. What excited me about the film then and even now is the Hawaiian notion of ohana, which to me felt like it could create an even broader sense of family beyond just the traditional idea of it. In an island destabilized by American tourism, colonial extraction, and personal tragedy for Lilo's family, ohana is a world of belonging that exceeds race, gender, class, and even species in the case of this film. Now, Pleakley's erasure might be the reason why this new film feels so hollow. Even 2 decades ago, Lilo and Stitch produced this vision of belonging that feels like we need it more than ever right now. It's a vision of belonging that's rooted in queer intimacy. Now, when I say queer intimacy, I'm not only referring to same-sex desire, gender bending, or anything even related to sexuality itself. I can already hear the far-right pundits claiming that we are preying on little children in a kid's movie. What I am referring to, though, is the reimagining of everyday life that queer people have been leading forever. Pleakley's discovery of earthly femininity becomes a bridge between themselves and the human species. Nani's desperation to keep her family together teaches Stitch about human emotions and belonging. In other words, these aliens' abilities to try on new experiences and new feelings is what allows them to come together into ohana. Even today, this kinship found in the tropical paradise of Hawaii is nothing short of utopia. It makes sense then that this vision is so dangerous to America. The American right, which is just a polite term for fascism now, has been establishing itself by trying to force square pegs of race, gender, class into the round hole of who we really are. It's like the only way to make this perfect vision of a mommy and a daddy and a white picket fence house and 2.5 kids work is to deny what has always existed and what is continuing to grow even underneath the repression of the American right. I now wonder what it would look like to live in a world, not a country, but a world, where communities, alliances, and families could be forged against the lines of identity that white colonial supremacy has been forcing on us for centuries. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about the Zapatista demand. The world we want is one in which many worlds fit. What would it feel like to realize that we're not alone, but joined by a whole universe of aliens trying to find their place in a land that isn't their own? I knew then, and I knew now more than ever, that Lilo and Stitch might offer us such a glimpse.